Hey guys, it's Vladis. So I made a video, referencing kind of like the state of P3, talked about a lot of different things that were happening in the game at that time. And I said this, but there's also even something else that's even more diabolical, even more of a bigger issue than even the dot. And that is an overlay that supposedly Supple and other guilds have. And what this overlay does is it literally tells you, because a lot of the gatherables have IDs that are client side, will tell you this is an uncommon, this is an epic, this is a legendary. Just when you're looking out, it'll look at all of your screen, it'll detect a gatherable, and it'll tell you what rarity that gatherable is. And then I had a conversation with our boy Flanker yesterday on the 1v1 podcast, and he said this.
And they did the full investigation pretty much about some software that I will not name that was about like gathering overlay pretty much, right? So they managed to get in, they got the software, they got the activation code, they learned how it works, they got the info on people who were distributing it, who were buying it, etc., right? We compiled the full report, right, and sent it to Intrepid. And thank God those people who are doing that are like absolute morons. But it was pretty easy to find info on them, including their like socials. There were like chat screenshots, like video recordings where they say like, "Oh, I'm selling this," like everything, right? And
so wait, hold on, one second. I don't want you to lose your thought, but just real quick, because I was memed on. I mentioned this in my video. Burns made a video that said I was going to talk about the static or this, the node rarity overlay, and they said it was a meme, Flanker. They said that this overlay does not exist. It's just a joke. It was just a screenshot of a meme. Is it actually real? What you're telling me is that this overlay really exists.
Yes, it does.
Now, I want to be extremely clear, okay? I was sent a lot of direct messages on Discord from very unhinged people that are blocked. I don't block people often, but it was just really crazy for me to say something about a potential add-on and have people clown me, have people, oh my God, he fell for the bait. Is he that idiotic to think that an add-on really exists like that? It was just a meme, dude, just all this stuff. And here we come to find out that the very thing we all thought of was indeed very true. If you want to look up, or if you want to try to find it, it's out there. Now, I'm not going to tell you where to find it, because honestly, with the latest changes to the PTR when it comes to static node rarity, I feel like this add-on is going to be completely useless. I feel like this add-on is going to be broken and it ain't going to matter. And I feel like with the start of the Harbingers update, this is why I keep preaching about a fresh server wipe, whatever you want to call it, economic wipe. I've said it in many different ways and many different things, but because of not just rarity in general, but just the numerative issues that occurred, the increase in drop rate for gear to then be non-existent, they hotfixed it back to be non-existent. That had a huge effect on the economy. There was also another number of issues that people and players were coming across. And I don't want to really cover all that too much in this video. The whole point that I am trying to make is we need to have a fresh start, and we need to, and I mean, I'm not saying a fresh start server, but just like we need to like wipe a lot of this stuff away and really see what the economy is going to do with these changes. Now, they're still currently iterating the 0.17 update. Now, also to be very clear, the 0.17 update is not the Harbingers update. The 0.18 update will actually be the Harbinger's update. So we're actually going to get not one, but two major updates. Now, we already got stuttering rarity removed in the 0.17. What I'm kind of hoping with, either with the 0.17, maybe it's still going to be in the patch notes maybe a little bit later, or maybe they're just going to push it to the 0.18 update, is in reduction of processing fees, in reduction of materials for craftables of tier 1, tier 2, or I'm sorry, not tier 1, but just like maybe tier 2 and tier 3 of novice, apprentice, and journeyman. I don't think they need to be this ridiculous. And I know some players may completely disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm not here to be the voice of everybody. I'm here to voice my opinion. You know what I mean? As someone who, you know, loves this game, loves its direction. I think people are trying to min-max a potential part in this alpha that is never supposed to be min-maxed. I don't know another MMO where you're going to be mid-maxing at level 10 or 20 when the max level of that MMO could be 50, 60, or 70. You're just not going to. You're not going to care. You're going to zoom by each level bracket. If I were to talk to any mid-maxer that zoomed to level 25 for this alpha at phase 3, I can guarantee you none of them crafted a T3 novice piece. Why? Because they didn't stay level 1 through 10 for all but, what, 5 minutes for them. So they didn't need to min-max that tier. And I think in the long term, because right now people are very much into the short term, they're into the right here, right now. I'm trying to zoom out. You know, that's what I said in the podcast. I'm trying to think, once we actually have 50 levels to play with and to actually level, levels 10, 20, probably even 30 aren't going to matter to a min-maxer. They're just not. What you're going to be attracted to is the end game, which is potentially like level 40 through 50, because that's going to be the particular level brackets you're probably going to spend the most time in, you know, because it's going to probably be very crazy to level in your 40s to then hit level 50. So that gear is probably going to matter to you way more than some level 0 or level 10 or level 20. This is why I advocate for the reduction of the materials for those craftables, because I think, you know, whether they're made for alts, you know, we can are make the argument that, oh, maybe it's just an alt thing or whatever. Like, I mean, we can make that argument, but I think why not have people, you know, potentially try to craft it as they're trying to level? Like, who cares? Like, if you're going to out level the thing, who cares if someone can have fun with a high end level 10 and 20 piece? Like, who cares? So that's kind of like my thing there. I think there needs to be a couple more adjustments. I want, you know, the end game of Ashes to feel very much like a progression, feel very much like an investment. And, you know, to someone like myself, who's probably going to play like maybe 2 to 4 hours potentially a day, I don't mind, like I said, being level 50 and having to wait a month to craft a piece. Because guess what? That's what I was doing back in BC in WoW in 2005 and 2006. Like, I was an arena player. I PvP'd a lot. I saved up my badges, you know, and I knew if I could earn this badges per week by level or by week 5 or week 6, I could earn my next piece. And that's how I lived that life of like something to look forward to, right? As long as I kept progressing, as long as I kept doing the thing, I knew I was going to get rewarded. And I think crafting, and this is why I love the crafting system so much, is because, you know, well, the craftable's there, like, you know what it's going to contain, you know what pieces you're going to need. So if it's something that I could check off and work on, like, that's awesome. You know, I just don't know why people want to be so penalizing to the very much the earlier levels of this game. The earlier levels of any MMO is supposed to be introductory. It's supposed to be a fun experience. And I think some of the more hardcore players are very masochistic in the sense of like, they want it to be hard for the sake of it being hard, to juxtapose the Care Bear MMOs that are currently out there. But I feel like Ashes really needs to pull in just a variety of players. And as someone like myself that used to be a very hardcore MMO player, now I'm a family man, now I have 3 kids, now I'm going to be hitting 40. I don't have the time to dedicate to an MMO as I used to in my 20s. I just don't. But it doesn't mean that I want to like water down Ashes of Creation. I just want to make Ashes of Creation feel like at an introductory level, it does have a very wide appeal. Now, as of course you level, as of course you experience certain things, it does sort of kind of niche your way up. But what I'm hoping happens by that time is that you're so invested because of how fun the early experience is that you don't mind continuing, right? I think currently there's certain just brackets, you know, like level brackets, like, you know, 0 through 10, 10 through 20, that some players just like, I don't want to deal with this, right? But we're also in a very early state. I'm not really considering this anything serious because we still have, I think, many ways to go to get to a final iteration. But the whole point of this video is, one, you know, this overlay thing will be put to rest. Static node rarity has been put to rest. A lot of the economic issues will hopefully also be put to rest too. And I think we need to really look at and examine how can we, you know, start over, you know. And I don't care. Like, that's why I really don't level to max level, because it's like, you know, anything could happen to where they can just like, hey, we need a wipe, or hey, we need to go back, or whatever the case is. So I don't really take leveling like too seriously. That's just how I am. I don't care. But I really want to make sure that we get a good experience and get good data. That's what I want more than anything. I want good data for us, the players, to experience, and also Intrepid. So that's the video. What y'all think? I was right.